Okay, we're back to this petition. Hopefully, on the YouTube part of it, you can see those links. One, you can link to the petition and sign it if you want. There's the links aren't on there, but there's also a petition to stop the inheritance tax on farmers, which kind of it's like a land grab, really. I mean, farmers will lose their farms, a lot of them will. And there's also a petition that for the government stopped the winter fuel allowance for the old age pension. So that's three major petitions. As you can see, call a general election. I would like there to be another general election. I believe the current Labour government have gone back on the promises they laid out in the lead up to the last election. So I think people step back a bit from saying they lied. They lied through their teeth about what they were going to do. Now, I'm not saying that's my opinion, but I think my opinion is I think much of the British public think the government have lied. And Keir Starmer seems to hone himself on Tony Blair. And his main asset was to be able to lie through his teeth. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say or not say, but these are my opinions. So may not be based in fact and may not be true. But to me, Tony Blair seemed to be able to lie through his teeth without any remorse or without any guilt. And it seems to me that Keir Starmer is of the same breed. And they were both solicitors as well, which for me, there is something about that profession. I mean, obviously, you get a lot of good solicitors, but boy, do they make a lot of money. And they're dealing with all the time the truth and lies. And where is the join? And I guess people like that get very creative with what is real, what happened, and what didn't happen. And for me, again, my opinion, I have always, I don't know why, I have always detested Keir Starmer. There is something about Keir Starmer that I just think is truly false. It's like he's hiding behind a mask. He's got this persona of, oh, I'm an upstanding citizen. I tell the truth. You can depend on me. And for me, behind that facade, I see this very ruthless, again, my opinion, liar, very deceitful. And, I don't know how these upper class people, top lawyers, top solicitors end up running the Labour Party, which is the party of the people. But for me, it's a bit like MPs. Their main attribute, a lot of the time, seems to be able to lie. There's very few real people in Parliament that are upfront about what they feel and think. For me, 4 people that I know of, and two of them are no longer in Parliament. One was Andrew Bridgen. He stood up for what he felt to be right. He felt the excess deaths were a problem. I'm not saying whether it's true or not, so I don't want this video banned. He gave his opinions truthfully as he felt and the information he had about vaccines, and he was ostracized for telling his truth and what he considered the truth. There was no debate. He was ostracized by every political party and every MP. He was banished, and luckily he got back in again. Unfortunately, he didn't get back in the last general election. I think if people knew what they know now, Labour would not have beat him, and he would again have been in Parliament. I think the same thing of George Galloway. If the people of his constituents knew what the Labour government were going to bring down, that he wouldn't have lost the election. Now, I'm not saying I agree with these people's policies, but I think of them as real people telling the truth as they see them. The other one is Jeremy Corbyn. Whether you agree with him, whether you agree with his persona or not, I think he is a real person. He is talking his truth. And as I said, I just never, ever liked Keir Starmer. I didn't know his policies. I didn't know what he talked about, but I knew I didn't like the way he talked. I didn't like his persona. I didn't like that he had been brought to the top of the Labour Party. And when I saw the video of how he had buttered up to Jeremy Corbyn, whilst all the time he was undermining him and stabbing him in the back, that made me realize why I did not like him. He is for me, a really nasty, devious liar. And when someone comes into power and they say, I would rather be in Davos than in the British Parliament, why would people put him in the position of the Prime Minister? And why would the Labour Party put him as their leader? That he, you've got to listen to what people say. He openly admits that he would rather be in Davos than in the British Parliament. And I think he is in Davos with those people. I think he is in communication with the global elite. He's had, or I saw a video of him showing whatever his face is, who owns Bill Gates, around number 10 Downing Street and talking with Bill Gates. So he's definitely talking with those people. And I have little doubt that all of those big, rich people and companies, if they can have some sway in British Parliament, they would be doing it. And for myself, my feelings about Keir Starmer is that he would do anything to butter up to power. He would do anything to gain more riches. It was embarrassing to watch him accept all of these gifts, all these, that his wife and him will be furnished with all of these expensive clothes, all of these tickets in a box to Arsenal, all of these drinks that he was openly, well, I don't know about openly, I think he tried to keep it under wraps, what he was receiving. This is somebody who, for me, again, my opinion, somebody who receives bribes. He was receiving those things and he was keeping them under wraps. That's stopping people seeing the truth about what he's doing. So I'm not sure what the difference is between someone stopping people from seeing the truth and someone being an outright liar. So I don't know that there's a lot of difference between shielding the truth and telling outright lies. For me, really, they should be seen in the same box. I just hate the man. I don't say that about a lot of people. Oh, the other person, even though I don't particularly agree with his politics, even though I do agree with a lot of his politics, but I'm not far right or right wing, is Nigel Farage. I think he talks a lot of sense, but what I do think about him is that he says what he thinks. He says what he thinks. I think Keir Starmer is thinking of all sorts of stuff and he is just promoting an image. I'm an upstanding person. I don't tell lies. I'm important. Look, I'm looking after you. I won't hurt you. Really, I won't steal all of the money. I won't steal money from pensions. Look at that. Look at just that. What did he get from stealing the money from the pensions? I don't know how much it was, but I bet it's nothing compared to the amount of money that he's promised to send to Ukraine for weapons of war. I bet it's absolutely zero. And with all of these very rich people that I think he is in contact with, I don't think it's just clothes that Keir Starmer is receiving. I think when he leaves Parliament, he will have lots of stashed away funds and be buddied up to all of the right people who will reward him for working for them. Those are my thoughts. They may not be true, but they are my thoughts. Or continually saying how Israel has got the right to bomb the hell out of Palestine. It seems that both America and England and Europe, despite the courts, the global courts or whatever, have the International Criminal Court have put out arrest warrants for Netanyahu and all of those people. And despite that, he is a lawyer and would have watched all of those lawyers from all of those different countries condemning Israel and condemning Netanyahu. Despite all of that, and despite them even having arrest warrants put out for them, Keir Starmer is, oh yes, Israel have a right to protect themselves. It doesn't look very much like protection. To me, it looks like a load of, I can never remember, because, this word, I have to think of Nazis because I forget the word, narcissistic people in Israel, rich, funded by America, funded by Europe, funded by England, with all of these highly sophisticated weapons, bombing the hell out of and killing women and children, starving to death in a near desert and squalor. I know people come down on Israel's side. I know that. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know why that is. And I hear people say, oh, well, look what they did on November the 7th. It didn't start. For me, it started 100 years ago. And every time Israel has stolen Palestine's land and killed people, far outweighed anything that happened on November the 7th. I don't think November the 7th was good in any way. I don't like any killing. But from what is being shown up now, Israeli killed most of the people themselves. So, but he's taking, and that, whatever side you come down on, he's taking this minuscule amount of money from the pensioners. Minuscule. Compared to what he's sending to Israel. We need to be out of these wars. We don't want to be sending a fortune continually to Israel to kill a few desperate brown people in the desert. And I don't even think it's about killing. Here's the thing. I don't even think it's about Israel wanting to kill Palestinians. I think it's about Israel wanting to stand on their land and have all of this beachfront properties. And these people just happen to be in the way and they're going to kill them to get that land. I think it's a power grab and land grab. But anyway, whatever, those are my opinions, but whatever side you stand on that, we should not be sending money for missiles to another country. And as I said, I have little doubt these powerful, influential people who own weapons factories and big money, multinational, kill everybody businesses, I have no doubt he is under their influence and doing what he says. I have no doubt. Well, he is. All of them are. The whole of the Labour government, to my knowledge, I might be wrong, are in the Friends of Israel. Look what they did to Jeremy Corbyn. That wasn't anti-Semitic. There was nothing to do with it. But the only genuine, I'm not saying, it doesn't matter whether you agree with his policies or not. The only genuine person telling the truth about his vision and what he wanted was completely torn apart and thrown out of the party. So those four people are the only ones that I know of that I feel are real people. Nigel Farage, I think, is a real person. I'm not saying I agree with his politics, but I think he's a real person and speaks a lot of sense. Andrew Bridgen, he's a hero. For me, he got totally torn apart. His wife left him. I think he's bankrupt for telling the truth, but he did it. He carried on. That man should be heralded as a hero, and I hope he watches this to find out. Jeremy Corbyn, whether you believe in his politics or not, I believe Jeremy Corbyn is a real person and telling the truth. George Galloway, I mean, I do listen to his things. Now, I've been on his show talking about Chequers once. I find him a bit loud. I find it a bit abrasive, but it's the truth. It for me, it is what he's feeling inside. And I think he has that power and fight because for me, he is telling, his inner energy. He is shouting it from the rooftop, what he believes in, what he believes is right and wrong. You know, admittedly, he says, I am a Christian. I am a family man. I am this, I am that. He's honest about it. And I'm not going to go into what the different people policies or what they think are, but you have to respect that. You know where you are with that man. I don't think you've got a clue where you are with Keir Starmer. Again, my view, I think he will lie through his teeth to get into power. And I think he is a total puppet of the deep state. He was, for me, again, my thoughts, and I may be wrong, I'm not a scientist, but I didn't want to go near those vaccines. I just didn't want to. That's my thoughts. I'm not going to say the effects, but I didn't want to go near them. I thought that lockdowns were just some kind of deep state manipulation, that we were being manipulated by the deep state as an experiment to see just how far they could go. Can we lock these people into their houses? Can we get them all scared of each other so that they won't even go out and talk to each other? Can we manipulate this thing? Can we later maybe corral them? Or in Australia, they put everybody who didn't want to take a vaccine, they got put in a concentration camp. I mean, it's unbelievable. And for me, my opinion, and may be wrong, I felt that the vaccines were bad. Now, the scientists may say a totally different thing, but I will be very, very interested in what RFK or whatever his name is, who's become the health minister in America, starts to unearth. And that once people are allowed to speak truthfully, and hopefully that will happen in America. I don't think it will happen about everything, but I think hopefully it will happen around vaccines, health, these big corporations, food corporations, processed food corporations, all the pharmaceutical companies, Fauci, people like that. I'm really hoping that he is going to bring them somehow the truth. I'm interested in the truth, what is really happening. And I'm hoping that in some way in America, that may happen under Trump. Now, again, I'm not saying that I agree with Trump's policies or whether he's right or wrong, but I'll tell you something. I think that Biden was another one of those people who could not tell the truth if he was paid to do it. I feel, well, he probably could if he was paid, but I think it would be hard for him. I think even if he was paid billions of pounds to tell the truth, I still think he would find it really difficult because it's so alien to him to actually tell the truth. And I have no doubt they were just receiving money, and maybe not straight away, but his family from all of these big people. He was friends, you know, in the Friends of Israel. Whether you believe Israel is right or wrong, they own America. They seem to own America. Israel seems to be in charge of America. Whoever the government coming in, whether you're Biden, whether you're Trump, you know, for a while, he wanted to a two-state solution in Israel. He was on, and then suddenly he changed his mind. I wonder what happened there. And he didn't want it all of a sudden anymore. And now you have to listen to what he says coming up to this election. Maybe he's going to stop the war in Russia. I really, really hope he does. I really hope. I don't see Putin as an enemy. I don't even see Russia as a communist state or anything like that. I think they're the same as us. I think it's I think they're capitalists. I think they're the same as us. They fought in the same World War with us. If we would have lost that war if it wasn't for the Russians. And I don't blame him for going to war. What would have happened if Russia had encroached on America in the same way that NATO had encroached on Putin? I think they would be all out, they wouldn't have it. And I think Putin just got pushed to the end of his tether and it ended up in war. Now, hopefully, Trump is putting it out there that he wants the peace there and hopefully will. But with Israel, from what I've heard, all of his ministers are Zionists. He's openly said, if Iran bombs Israel, he wants to use these special big bomber or nuclear bombs to blow up Iran's nuclear facilities. So I don't think the war in the Middle East will end under Trump. Maybe it will, maybe it will not. So isn't it funny? I always thought of Israel as part of the deep state, but maybe there's different factions to the deep state because Trump seems to be with Israel, Netanyahu, and whatever all of that money is. And it has to come from money because you have to look at where it was initiated in the first place. It's the Rothschilds. It didn't start in the British Parliament. It didn't start in the British Parliament. It started by Lord Rothschild and a couple of other Zionists nattering away, and then probably bribed Lord Balfour or whatever his name was, or gave him money, or he was, and they said they got it all together, what they wanted. Then he presented, it was like, oh, look, here's this really good idea. But it wasn't brought about by the British government. It was initiated by very, very rich Zionists with very deep pockets. And I think that is the same. I think they own President Trump. I think they own the Senate and all of those people. I don't know how they own the British government, but the British government are doing what they say, what they want them to do, nevertheless. So you've got that faction of the deep state, which is like Israel. How a little country, how did a little country, which wasn't even their country, how they got to run whole of America is quite incredible, and Europe and England. How they managed to do it is phenomenal. It's phenomenal how they brought that off. It's incredible. And, we watch our media and the BBC and, oh, yes, it's right. Israel has got the right to protect themselves. Nobody else. It's United States, Europe and England. Yeah. So Israel must. The rest of the world, they don't think that. They see poor, desperate, homeless brown people in the desert being starved, having their water removed, having their medicine removed, and that's not enough, being bombed by sophisticated weapons. I see the Israel army as such a bunch of cowards. They won't get it. The last place they're going to do is go near a Palestinian with a gun. They won't get in an actual conflict where boots on the ground, where they have to, face people with guns, maybe a stone or a brick from a 6-year-old kid. They'll do that. But other than that, it's fortune. It's like £5 million weapons going in to kill desperate people in the desert. So whatever side you're on, why is Starmer sending them money? Because he's corrupt. I think he's corrupt. I think he's a liar. And then you've got the other faction of the deep state, which for me is the rich people, Bill Gates, the pharmaceutical companies, the media, whoever's owning the media, produce, and all the people at Davos who control the media and this mind, brainwashing the world. Are we brainwashed? Which seems to be separate, because in America now with RFK, whatever his name is, Robert, isn't it? Robert something Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, with Mr. Kennedy, whose life has been taking pharmaceutical companies to court, and he wrote a book about Fauci and how it was starting with AIDS. It wasn't just the vaccines where Fauci started. He was there forefront in the medication for AIDS. Nobody was allowed to take their own medication. There's that film, the something or other something club, where they wanted to take their own medication and they were stopped and they had to take the medication that Fauci was producing for them. So it's still the same, but they may be being brought to things. So on one side, they are breaking down the deep state. On another side, they're not. And whether they'll do any of that, when they actually come into power, is a whole different question. We don't know, do we? We don't know what will happen under Trump's presidency, and we don't know what will happen under the rest of Keir Starmer's presidency. But I like this little petition because it is at least saying what the people think. I think for me, at some point, there is all of this, how we feel about the deep state, how we feel about politics. And I think in a way we do have to say what we think is true for ourselves. I think that helps. And it's good to have open discussion. But I think we also have to find a spiritual way in ourselves how to deal with it. And I'm a meditation teacher. I teach a thing called holographic breathing. There is a link in the comments. There's a link to the petition. There's a link to a free tutorial and guided meditation to learn holographic breathing. And there's a link to some pictures and maps I've made of Chequers showing the sacred site there, where I teach breath work, I teach healing, and also as I'm close to Chequers, I go up and work with the land there, which I consider to be a sacred site. On my YouTube channel, there's just hundreds of free videos to learn holographic breathing, free guided tutorials to go on different journeys with holographic breathing. So you can click on that and go to that. but you have, I think, what is the way forwards with the deep state? Because it seems like the people in charge, put MPs in charge, and it's a game. It's a big game. Vote for us, and we will do what you say. No, they're not gonna. The last thing, the very last thing they're gonna do is what they say they're going to do and what you've asked them to do. But I guess that whole structure has somehow got to come down, and something in its place has got to be part of it. And I think this petition is part of that, because I think for a long time I've just thought, well, referendums are really great, because the people, it is a direct way of the people talking. The problem is that once you do a referendum, the government do their best to undermine it in every possible way they can. But I think Switzerland has got, a partially, I've forgotten the word, I'm dyslexic, whatever I said, referendums where they have lots of them about main things they're going to do and different things. And it works really well. I think that is what we want, but it's not like, oh, you're too stupid. You lot, all of you people, you're too stupid to run yourselves. You haven't got enough brains between you that come anything close to the brains of all of us MPs. So you just put us in power and we will tell you what to do and make all of these laws to control you. We're clever, you're stupid. Just trust in us. What's that in Jungle Book? Trust in me, the snake. They're like that. Just trust in us. We're trustworthy. They're not. They're the, you want a job as, if they had it in school and, you go to the career teacher and say, oh, I want to be a politician. Like, can you lie? You're good at lying? Are you good at hidden agendas? Can you bring people around to your side and then totally go against them and not do anything you promised? Can you do that? If you can, you're in. Are you good at buttering up to rich, deep state people? You're in. Andrew Bridgen said that. He was, talking to these different MPs. They say, it's a game. It's a game. Don't do all this stuff. You'll just get thrown out. It's a game. We don't do what people want. It's what these other people want. And I wonder how much of it is the bribery side? Because I think it's more than that. I think it's a carrot and a stick. I think the Israeli government, these different corporations have gone round and got the dirt on all of these people. I think they kind of have got access also to the back end of all of these porn places. So they have what everybody's watching on porn channels, and they have embarrassing or illegal doings on pretty well anyone they want. And that guy who went to jail and was killed or killed himself, again, I'm dyslexic. I can't remember names. I think he was even Israeli, might have been Zionist. I'm not sure. But whoever he was and caught with his own island of sex children, that was how that ran. And I think it wasn't just him. I think that is en masse. And I think there is the money, the amount of money behind it, but I think it's also to get the dirt on influential people. I think they've got the dirt on all of the MPs. I think they've got the dirt on, again, my opinion, I'm not saying it's 100% true. These are my opinions, but I think they've got the dirt on all of the MPs in England and America and probably all around the world. And, people just don't want their wife to know that they've been, doing it with young children, or the world to know they've been having sex with young children and different things. And the amount of sex trafficking of young children, apparently it's massive, especially in America. You see all these rings and everything. It's huge business. Wherever you can make money, it's huge business, drugs, child sex trafficking. And I don't think these people, they get offered all of these different things, whether they get blackmailed. I don't think Trump is above that. I don't think he's going to bring the deep state down. I definitely don't think he's going to bring Israel down. From what I heard, again, I might be wrong, been offered, millions of beachfront property in Palestine. That's just what I heard on a video. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But and that brings us round to the spiritual side. And I'm going to change the screen. So we are now at 2,854,394 signatures. There is the link in the comments, so you can go to that link. And I'm going to bring up another link now, which is the work. This is where the Prime Minister lives. See, you've got Chequers here. This is Chequers, this red box here. That's Chequers. The longer red, shorter red lines, they're ancient tracks. The thicker red lines, these are what's called the Ridgeway. Here we go. This picture is of the Ridgeway, ancient tracks and energy lines at Chequers. Chequers is the countryside estate where the Prime Minister lives. And it's owned by England. It was given to England for prevailing in the First World War, but no one in England gets to live there. Just one person gets to live there. The British people pay the bills, which are about £2,500 to £3,000 a day, just for the general upkeep. Also, you've got a massive protection unit there. Almost said Gestapo police. Got too much into the Israel thing there, but SAS type police with machine guns. So you won't get near that without meeting massive protection of the Prime Minister. And there's an exclusion zone where everybody can't go, where only the Prime Minister can go. And yet this is the Ridgeway Path, which is a 6,000-year-old pathway, sacred pilgrimage route across England, and it's a right of way. So the British public, by rights, should be able to go straight past the house at Chequers, but they can't. So you can see this beautiful chalice shape. For me, I do go and work the energies there as a healer. I work in this dell here, which is a strong energy point. I work on Coombe Hill here. The most powerful place is Beacon Hill, and this has been cut off. It was totally cut off for a long time. No one could get to the top. But now they allow people onto half of it. But it's very steep trying to get up there. You go up there, next to no one is there. If they're normally, very rarely do I see anybody on the top. But this is the most powerful area, and this makes this beautiful chalice. This is a valley, a cup-shaped valley. It's quite steep sides. This is an ancient path. You can see how the paths going around Chequers mimic this pathway. This is an energy line. This, I would love to get to this. This ley line carries on. You see where these trees are going in a V? That's because it cuts down. And I think this was cut down as for people to follow this route. And then it cuts down through here quite steeply. And then you can see it carrying on here. I think this line here, where it's going off here, I think that takes people to the ancient church, or what I think was also an ancient site here. There are burial mounds on top of here. I think this was a pagan site. You've got the wells, which are further down here, which were a pagan site. And then on here this is more the feminine energy. This is more the male energy. And it makes up this tantric site. And I go and do holographic breathing there and work with the energies. As I say, you can look in the link. There's free tutorial to learn holographic reading. And that may make you feel healthier and happier, that you get some spiritual content when you're dealing with these, my opinion, liars that run our countries, not us. You know, we're the stupid people. We put these highly intelligent liars because we can't decide for ourselves. How could we know if Brexit was right or not? Just these very special people know that. And if we get a referendum and we vote in favor of Brexit, will we get it? No, we will not. I'm sure Keir Starmer will be making headways to, it's already, we've still got European justice in charge of England, all sorts of stuff. I'm sure he's right behind all of that. So it's a 600-year-old pilgrimage route to Avebury and Stonehenge, and all along it, there's sacred sites. And for me, Chequers is a sacred site. And the energies that come down on this hill, there's like 12, they are like, it's like the rightful spiritual energies for running a country. So it's interesting how Chequers has arrived here, and it feels Arthurian or something, these spiritual energies that come down. So I'm sorry to people who just wanted to hear about the petition, but it's nice to get the spiritual side. But I've had a campaign to give this back to the people for a long time. I was beside myself. I was totally beside myself because I work the energies of the whole Ridgeway and the different sacred sites, and I would park up in this dell here because I feel the energy so amazing. And I could feel it pouring through Chequers. And I think, why is that? Why is it pouring through Chequers? And it dawned on me, it's the Ridgeway. It's the energies of the Ridgeway. Because guess what? They've lied. They've told people the Ridgeway is somewhere else, even though it is a ridge and you can see it. They've told you the ridge is someone else. And because of all of the trees all here, you can't actually see it. You can see the ridge from here, but they stop people going up there. So they tell you the ridge is like round here, completely missing this whole bit. So I was beside myself that this right of way, this mystical track, this pilgrimage route, and we should all have access to. And the Prime Minister was living on it and stopping everybody else. Not only do they steal the country and pretend they're really intelligent and you've got no idea, you're too stupid to run a country, leave it up to us, but they steal a national treasure that is meant for all of the people and live there themselves and stop everyone. Not only that, they get all these men with machine guns, because I tried going a couple of times. You get this like machine gun. Well, they don't. They're nice. I found them. I think they're taught to be quite pleasurable, and they're just very fit, obviously athletic people with machine guns, probably very highly paid. And I've got nothing against them. Boy, no, doing their job. But they do have machine guns, and it's funny, they look like they're made of plastic. They look very strange. These machine guns look like they're toys, but I don't think they are. So anyway, there's Chequers. There's my last video on it. I talk about it. These are just those two hills. This is Beacon Hill. It looks like a holy hill to me. That almost looks man-made to me. It's like a ancient fort formation there. There is, see, from Beacon Hill, you can see it. So these are all pictures of that circle of Chequers there. There's that sacred site there. There's the Ridgeway, there's Chequers, but this whole Ridgeway, 75 miles going down there, you can walk the whole Ridgeway, all the way that way, all the way, except here, the Prime Minister sitting on this prized sacred site, sucking up all that energy to himself. Again, for me, this is a bribe from the aristocracy so that the prime ministers are bribed. They get this bribe. It was given to them by the aristocracy. It was lied. We're giving this to England, but the prime minister has to stay there. It's like another lie. Oh, great, England's getting a gift from the rich people. They're giving us this estate and this big house. And then they say, but the prime minister has to live there. So if they were to tell the truth, and say, we're going to give this house and land to the prime minister, and just for the prime minister, and the whole of England are going to pay the bills so that the prime minister can feel like royalty, like a king, like big, rich, powerful. Look at me. I'm so clever. All of those stupid people that I'm governing, and I'm like a king because I've got this mansion and all this land, all these police around protecting me. And not only that, it's, look at you stupid people. I've stolen your sacred site that has been the rights of pagans, the rights of British people for 6,000 years. I've stolen that from you, and I'm going to live there, and I'm going to cut you off from walking there, you stupid, stupid people. So I'm just saying what he's thinking, and I might be wrong, but it's like they're all, I can hear it all like this creepy, smug, bad words person. I see him as this creepy, liar, smug asshole. That's how I see him. And I don't see all of the prime ministers like that. It's just especially Keir Starmer. I've got a special thing about Keir Starmer that I just hate him. I just can't stand him. He is so false. But he's there in Chequers again, fingers up to the British people. I've stolen the Ridgeway. I live on your sacred site. I'm clever. I can run the country. You don't really understand what you're doing. And I'm going to accept all of these gifts. I'm going to be like a king here in Chequers. Should be given back to the people. Should be given back to the people. That was given to the British people for prevailing in the First World War. Should be honest. If they're going to say, we're going to give this to England for prevailing in the First World War, rather than lying about it, that is what they should do, rather than having the likes of Bill Gates visiting him there and all of these rich people and all of his slaves all running around after him and police protect him. Just give him some free bedroomed house somewhere on a bit of land that's protected. That would do it. He doesn't have to be living there. Plenty of nice people, places where he can meet people. That should be given back to England. So here, this is the top of Beacon Hill. This is a ring. They don't have stones here. This is a circle. It's hard to see, but it's like this rim all the way around. And I was sitting on the edge of here looking over to Coombe Hill, which is over here. And then suddenly it's all of this energy pouring down into this. I was envisioning this big ark and chalice. And as I was doing it's energy, and I looked around, I said, oh my God, there's a circle there. And I went and sat here and they just poured down. I'm used to 1 or 2 energies, but it's like 12 really powerful kind of higher energies. And they would like to do with the energies of England, like for the rightful, true, honest, governing energies of England. Isn't it funny? You get that spiritually here, and then half a mile away, you've got this creep governing England. I wonder if YouTube are going to stop this because I'm so insulting the Prime Minister. Do you know something? I sent an email to the local MP here. I talked to the Conservative people. I thought, well, they're not going to move out. But they saw me within a few days and they were really interested in my pictures and everything. And I thought the Labour would be the same. Labour got in this time. Keir Starmer's mob got in, and she's a lady. And I thought, well, I'll contact her. That was in September. What is it now? It's now nearly December. And I still don't even, they just kept ignoring my emails. I sent them this link. I sent them the little video where they won't even talk to me. I'm too stupid. And I thought Labour would be better. I thought they would be better than Conservative. Jeremy Corbyn wants to give it back, you know. But no, I still haven't seen them. Every time I say, are you going to answer this email? No, and they say, oh, we're just trying to do it. Oh, I'm doing it now. Then you don't hear from them for another month. We're too busy for stupid people like you who want you to have rightful access back to a sacred site in the Ridgeway. You're too stupid to understand why we have to live there like royalty. And all of the people, you know, it was given to the people of England for winning or prevailing in the First World War. All of those people who died, all of those people who were traumatized for the rest of their lives, all of those people who were crippled and maimed, and all of the families of those people running on for generations. Don't you think if you say something like that, if you say, we're going to give this to England for prevailing in the First World War, that's what it intends. People getting killed, people getting maimed, people being traumatized for the rest of their lives, children not having fathers, being poor, being impoverished for the rest of their lives, people coming back, being totally traumatized and affecting their families and everyone. That's what it entails. If you say, we're going to give this to the people of England for prevailing in the First World War, you should damn right do it. You should damn right give it back to the people of Iran. I'm this special liar in charge with all of this nice food. And look, people give me all of these special clothes and glasses, and I can go to Arsenal whenever I want. You're too stupid to understand how to run your own company. And I'm going to get buddy up to Bill Gates and all of these rich people. Give it back. Give Chequers back to the people. It's the least you can do. It's a symbol. Chequers is a symbol of our politicians being bought out by the aristocracy. That is what Chequers is. So here's a burial mound on the top of Beacon Hill, and there's the church at the bottom. The springs are just down here. Whoops, go up. There's the church. It's on its own mound. It's quite high. And then the springs are much deeper right down here. That circle, it looks small, doesn't it? But here we are, winter solstice. This is just, I don't know, not even a quarter of the circle. Goes right round, big circle. You can see this ridge. This is the narrow top of Beacon Hill. Very, very potent energy. There you can see the steep escarpment here. You can see, you know, whoever built Chequers knew about it. Notice how the roads of Chequers align perfectly with this. These are the energy lines. This is the Ridgeway and the sacred path. This is a water circuit. There's ponds all along it. It's a ley line with water. And you can see that's been walked about. This is, I think, Neptune's sign, something like that. But you can see how whoever built Chequers knew about this, and they wouldn't have been able to sleep if they'd gone on the energy lines. And they've made sure not to put the house or the roads on these lines, that they just snug in here. This also pagan site, and you've got the road, this little road. There's a special keeper's cottage there. The ley lines come up and they follow up here, and that continues, and then this follows the road on this side. This is the arc, one arc there, and then the arc also of the Ridgeway here. This is that, this line here. You can see how it's Ving down to this. This is the valley. This is a steep, deep valley. This is a flat type valley, but this is the very bottom. You've got a pond there. Chequers is behind these trees, and you get different ponds running up there. So it's running down this way. The water's running gently down this way, but then it drops down fast into this mixture. So here you've got Beacon Hill, Coombe Hill here, which is a high point, Beacon Hill here, and you've got the Ridgeway. This is the lowest point of the ridge, but then it drops down into this valley, and it drops down. It's called a saddle shaped valley, except it's not a very big saddle, because this is saddle, because this is very gentle slope here. But where they cross there, I think that's a very special energy point. And they say about it in, there's the exclusion zone. You're not allowed inside there. Here I am, special big liar, Prime Minister, buttering up to rich people, living in my symbolic mansion given to me by the aristocracy, surrounded by slaves, doing all of this stuff for me, and police with guns to protect me. And I got here by telling everyone lies and backstabbing Jeremy Corbyn, who did tell the truth. Here I am, and you can't come in, and I'm going to stop you going down the Ridgeway and going down these energy parts. Here's Keir Starmer in there. And we're going to lie to you, and we're going to tell you the Ridgeway goes here. And you can't see it from all of this area. You can't see Chequers. You can't see this beautiful arc. You can see it from there. It's only recently the top of the hill been made available. You can, from the pictures above, you can see this gentle arc there. But they lied. They big fat lies. This is the Ridgeway here. Smart signpost, Ridgeway. The Ridgeway is a physical ridge. It's not make-believe. It's not energy lines. A physical ridge where the land drops off from the hills and down into the vale, dropping into the Vale of Aylesbury here. And this is a steep drop down into the vale. And this ridge, physical ridge, 75 miles long, goes past so many, Stonehenge, Aylesbury, all of these different sites on the way down. The only place you can't walk here, where big, very clever liar man, Keir Starmer, special clever man who can run the country because we don't know how to, we don't have any thoughts about it, is living there and just stopping people having the right of way to something 6,000 years right of way. Give it back, Keir Starmer. Give it back, you big fat liar. You. Now, being honest, you're a big fat liar. You're not a special, benevolent, look at me, I'm honest. I think you're a liar. I really do. And I think your profession was built on lies. And I think, yeah, that's who I think of you. I don't think should be in charge. Anyway, who's going to listen to me? So there it is. You can do meditations. I think this first one is the most done. That teaches holographic breathing and how to work with the energies at Chequers. These are also that, but they're not so much watched, but you can learn holographic breathing there. Let's go back to the general election and see what I'm just going to call him Big Fat Liar. He's not particularly fat, but I don't see him as this honest person at all. I just see him someone buttering up to powerful. Well, the British people have made a statement. There we go. It's 2,855,634. So the link is in the comments. You can click on the link and you can sign the petition. If you look for them, I haven't got them. I'll put them up later. There are 2 links for the different ones for the pensioners. You know, I'm a pensioner. I lost my winter allowance. You can see I live in a wood. I can do with a winter heating allowance. And for the farmers, you know, that's another land grab. You know, do you think it's a coincidence that Bill Gates is going around buying up all of this land, farmland everywhere, and suddenly the British farmers have to pay inheritance tax? So there's no way someone with a big, huge farm or even a small farm can afford that when they pass it on. It's like millions and millions of pounds. They will have to sell their farm to pay the inheritance tax. It's like a land grab to build more houses on it, and or the likes of Bill Gates to buy up the farmland, because that will be the next thing. They will control us by food and water. Oh, you haven't got any food. Well, just take these vaccines, go and live there, watch your computer all day. You got my opinion, not medically sound, just what I think. You just go and be controlled, and us clever people will tell you what to do and we'll control you, and you'll be happy because you won't have to think. Let us do the thinking. You're too stupid to think. You know, another land grab as far as I'm concerned. Next thing, food and water. You control people. All right, I think that's it now. I'm going to stop this share and close this video now. Thank you for watching. On my YouTube channel, hundreds and hundreds of videos teaching holographic breathing, meditations, guided meditations, tutorial healing. That's my normal thing. I'm just getting this off my chest. I just had to speak about it. So anyway, that's all there. Please like, please share. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm back. And